Colin Edward Zerneden and Valerie V. Griggs tell you about Stalin's best speech ever, Scorched Earth Policy.
It's 1941. World War II is going on, and Russia has been invaded. They're nearing the end of a long and cold winter, and they appear to be in trouble. Russia was a fairly poor country at this point in time, with more people than they had weapons. They were undersupplied, overworked, and they were spread too thin. They couldn't beat the Nazis in a head-to-head fair fight. Now, they had a previous treaty with Hitler and the Nazis that said that the Nazis would not invade Russia, and Russia wouldn't invade Germany. But Hitler ended up betraying this treaty and sending his troops in to take over the massive country. But in the end, he would end up failing because of this speech right here.
His name is Joseph Stalin, and the speech he was just giving is called the Scorched Earth Policy. It was given through the radio, and it was given on July 3rd, 1941. The Nazis had invaded Russia, and things weren't looking good. They were headed for Russia's capital, Moscow, and at the rate that Russia was losing land, it didn't look like they would hold the capital. In the event that Moscow was lost, it would make the whole country look weak.
So what the Russian soldiers did after that speech was they started to dig into their cities so tightly that the Germans would have to fight for their lives in literally every house. Every inch of the city was so well defended that the only way that the German soldiers could capture it was by destroying it all. At first they tried to fight for each room, but they kept losing too many soldiers, so they ended up sending in tanks and blowing up each building. But then, because they were blowing up all the buildings, the city streets became too hard for them to operate the tanks on. And also, by destroying all of the buildings, they were destroying their only food source, because they were going through and they were trying to take food out of the buildings because the Russians were burning their crops as they retreated. And by blowing up the buildings, they blew up their food. So they pretty much shot themselves in the foot there.
And that's when the winter of 1942 came. The German soldiers were woefully ill-prepared for the cold Russian winter. Without proper food and equipment, they had no choice but to pretty much retreat. And that's when the Russians attacked. They followed the Germans back to their homeland, and in the end, the Allied forces surrounded the Nazis and won the war. In our opinion, this speech helped to shape the world we know today. If Russia hadn't won, Germany would have attacked us, and whether we won or lost, the world would be much different. And that's why we believe that the Scorched Earth Policy was the best speech ever.
And you just lost the game.